a man after God's own heart. But it's very, very important. How many of us want to be women after God's heart or men after God's heart? Perhaps today we can learn a couple of ideas or things that will help us to become men and women after God's heart. Okay? That is the aim of today's lesson. Where can this verse be found? In fact, it was even mentioned even before David came into existence. It was already mentioned in 1 Samuel when King Saul, made that big disobedience of sacrificing, and then Samuel came to him. Can we turn to 1 Samuel 13:14? Okay, this is when Saul had disobeyed God, and Samuel came to Saul and said, no, God is going to reject you, and now God has chosen someone that's going to be loyal to him. Any of your version have man after his God? Yeah? The older versions will have that phrase. That means even before David came into the picture, already mentioned already. Then after that, you go into the book of Acts, chapter 13, and verse 22. This is who talking, Alex? Paul talking. Can you read that? Paul is preaching, huh? Paul is preaching.
After removing him, he raised up David as their king and testified about him. I found David the son of Jesse to be the man after my own heart, who will carry out all my will.
There you go. It is repeated again in the book of Acts. So we can never say that the New Testament and the Old Testament are not related. Okay. The Acts 13:22. When he says, after removing him, God raised up David. So Paul was very specific already. He mentioned the name. Raised up David, their king. He testified about him. I have found David, the son of Jesse, to be a man after my heart. Who what? Who will carry out my will. So you have an idea, one hint, how to be a man or woman after God's heart. How is that? From this verse. Carry out his will lah. Why the la there? Because so hard so hard to carry out his will. Even though David was a man after God's heart, but God never spoke to him directly. Strangely. God had to speak to him through prophets as well as through Urim Tumim as well as circumstances. But he spoke a lot about God. And he wrote a lot about God, but God really never spoke to him directly. In fact, God will speak to Solomon direct, but not to him. He never had any dreams, never had any visions. Strangely. Yet, he's like us. Yet God says, hey, you know, this is a man after my heart. This is a loyal servant of mine. Okay, so now let's go into our lesson. Let's just remember this and where it can be found. We first will now go into what we call David's worship revolution. I want to dwell a little bit about that because that is relevant to us as well. So David's worship revolution, we can find it in 1 Chronicles. You know, Samuel doesn't talk so much about it, but Chronicles will start to give more details about this. And then later we are going into the book of Psalm. I'm going to connect these three books together. So who has that? That's Tim Bell. Tim Bell? Yeah? You're ready? Everybody has First Chron?
If you compare 1 Chronicles 16 verses 8 to 22, is actually the same as Psalm 105.
Alright, so you notice there's something for us to learn, and that's what Pastor is talking about, intertextuality. Last week, I think Patricia was making a comment. Wow, how come this whole chapter and this whole chapter are the same one? You know, you read both First Samuel, Second Samuel, and then you read First Chronicles 16, so all the same one, you know. And likewise, First Chronicles 17, isn't it? Later you're going to do exactly the same. How can it be the same? Is it written by different authors or same authors? Yes, but you can see that there is a flow. There is a flow, and as well as some. Okay, so continue.
So what we can learn from here is, I can break it down to like two. There's an attitude part of it and there's an action part of it to this chapter. So this is a Psalms of Thanksgiving by David. And from verse 8 to 13, this part is, the attitude is like a thanksgiving and gratefulness part attitude. And the action style, you sing praises to God regarding what He has done, and you also proclaim His deeds. So it's like you give testimony about what God has done for you.
Okay, let's just go back there. Verse 7 it says, this is about worship. This is about David revolutionizing worship. Remember last week we see that worship those days was just sacrifice. There was no music. There was basically, you don't talk so much, you don't sing so much, but now David is going to revolutionize worship, which is very important to us today, isn't it? So verse 7, can you read verse 7?
On that day, David decreed for the first time that thanks be given to the Lord by Asaph and his relatives.
That's why I say it's revolutionized and not reformation. Because it's the first time it's being done. And it's mentioned in the Bible, it's the first time that David sent out this command. That we need to worship the Lord this way. This way. And he's giving instructions now how we should worship the Lord. Is it relevant to us? Yes. Because we are here to worship the Lord. Can we learn how to worship the Lord? We must. Are we worshiping the Lord in the right way? The right day, but may not be the right way. I will be very honest with it. Okay, and we're going to learn from David clearly how to worship the Lord by this very simple chapter. Thanks, well. Now, who can write fast? Ben, can you write fast? Okay, now, I want us all together to go into this chapter, and I want us to pick actions, what I call verbs, of what worship is all about. Okay, example, give thanks to the Lord. So put give thanks. Right? Got a lot of words, huh? Anything else? Can anybody just shout out? Just go through. Sing. Yes. Proclaim. Call on His name. Proclaim. Then? Seek Him. Yes? Boast about His name. Tell about His miracles. Come on. Anybody, just read. Remember His covenant. And then? Ascribe. Wow. Ascribe means I write down. Ascribe to the Lord. Announce. Bring an offering. Worship. Remember. Remember. Rejoice. Tremble. Verse 33, somebody? Shout, yes. Shout to the Lord with joy. When He comes, honor, yes, honor. Got ready? Verse 35. Gather. Say a prayer. Say this prayer. Deliver us, O God, who delivers us. And finally, the people say, Amen. Thank you very much. All right, so let's have a look at this chapter, because this chapter is David's SOP about worship. Have a look at this. Do we do that or not in Uttamapitan? And how many percent of times we do that? Do we give thanks? Are you sure? Whenever we pray, I only hear, Lord, please give us this. Lord, bless this person. Lord, be with this person. Lord, heal this person. Lord, please bless our pastor, bless Sister May. Do we give thanks or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many percent?
100%.
Thank you very much, Uncle Frank.
20%.
20%? Yeah, we need to revise our prayers. Do we sing?
Yes.
We sing, huh? Okay, we sing. Do we proclaim? Do we proclaim? We are very shy to proclaim the goodness of God. How many times when we pray do we ever proclaim? We just say, good morning, happy Sabbath, God, be with this person, they are on the way, be with that person. Do we ever proclaim, God, you are Do we ever pray a prayer whereby we never ask for anything? Except proclaim the glory of God. Do we ever do that? Yeah. Do we seek Him?
Yes.
Yes, we seek Him. We ask Him for things, isn't it? Do we just seek Him for the sake of seeking Him? Sometimes. Do we seek Him when we are high and we have everything in this world?
No.
Or do we seek Him only when we don't have money in the bank? Not enough money, our children are naughty, our husbands are nagging or whatever it is. Do we boast of Him or not? Do we boast of Him in our prayer? Do we boast of Him when we talk about life? Do we boast of how God has blessed you this week or not?
Definitely.
Definitely. Wow, I love my friend. Definitely. Okay? You can see a transformed life there. Do we speak of His miracles or not? Or do we say, oh, you're very lucky today I didn't get caught in that traffic jam. Very lucky today my alarm clock rang. Luckily I woke up. You're right. It's a miracle, isn't it, that every day we are waking up, but we take it for granted and we say, this one, because I take vitamin, I take new skin, I can live until so long. Do we remember His covenant? Covenant? What covenant? What covenant do we have? I thought it's the Israelites that only have the covenant. Do we ascribe or not? Do we write? Do we when we write WhatsApp to friend? Do we say praise the Lord or not? That, and forgot to praise the Lord in our WhatsApp or chit chat or whatever it is. Sometimes. Do we announce, this week God has been so good to me? Do we do that?
Yes.
Yeah, when God is good to you, yes lah. When God is not good to you, you come in and say, "Aiyo, why God like that, man? Aiyo, I serve Him every week in church, everything, I'm early here, and then how come God never bless me?" I've heard of people say that. Do we worship Him? Really worship Him? Also depends.
Depends on the week.
Depends on the wind. Depends today weather forecast. Do we rejoice or not? When Paul said, rejoice, and I say again, rejoice, where was he? He was in prison. How can you be in prison and say rejoice, and again I say to you, rejoice? Do we tremble or not? Because this is the anointed presence of God. Or do we just walk inside here and think, this is just a conference hall? I can do anything, I can wear anything. I can whatever, I can do anything that I do in a secular place. Do we do that or not? Or do we realize that this is the anointed place of God every Sabbath? That every Sabbath, this place is transformed by the anointing of the Holy Spirit. Thoughts to think about, huh? Do we shout or not? They're not shouting, huh? Do we honor Him? Do we gather? Yeah, sure lah. Every week we gather. This is, I think 100% this is the one. What is this? Deliver. Okay. And finally, of course, do we say Amen? Yeah, we say Amen. What's the meaning of Amen? Let it be. A Beatles song, huh? So be it. Surely, verily. Valerie. Surely, Valerie. So when you say Amen, you must understand the meaning of Amen. It is that I agree. So be it. Let the Lord's will be done. So, David teaches us a lot about worship that we didn't realize we're not doing. To be very honest. We're not doing. And we need to study into this chapter a little bit more. To understand David's meaning of worship when he wrote this. And he wrote it and they transcribed it into the psalm. Because a psalm is a collection of songs written by David, but not all. David wrote about half of them, 70 over of them. So it's, to me, if I were to read the psalm from chapter 1 to chapter 150, it may not make as much meaning as if you understand the environment when it was written. So when you read this Psalm 105, you know that this is after the spiritual triumph. He has brought the ark in, he's revolutionized the worship, and he's now telling us, this is how we should worship the Lord. We don't come to church and keep asking for things. Right now, we come to church, we say, oh, I want to come to church to be blessed. Yeah, you will receive the blessing. Right? I want to come to church to seek God. Definitely you will find Him. Okay, so this is just part of it because actually it's a very long psalm. It's a very long psalm. I just want to go to the anointed one, because I think we need to clarify that verse. What verse is that, Nabel? Touch not my anointed. First Chronicles 22, saying, don't touch my anointed ones, don't harm my prophets.
First Chronicles 16:22.
Yes, and it's also mentioned again in the book of Psalm. Who is he talking about, the anointed ones? You know, he says that he let no one oppress them, he disciplined kings for their sake, saying, don't touch my anointed ones. Then there's an exclamation mark, stop there, and then don't harm my prophets. Then you need to read further up. What is it talking about? You cannot do proof texting like what Pastor said, just take up one. You need to read all the way up. If you read all the way up, it starts actually from verse 13. O children of Israel, God's servant, your descendants. And then he says, he's the Lord that carried you. Remember his covenant. And he writes all the way down, when they were few in numbers, very few, verse 19, foreign residents within it, they wandered from nation to nation and from one kingdom to another kingdom. Who is he talking about? Israel. He's talking about Israel. And he said, let no one oppress them. He disciplined kings for their sake, saying, don't touch my anointed ones. And then there's an exclamation mark. Certain versions says, or don't harm, and don't harm my prophets. So it's not prophets anointed, it's the whole of Israel was anointed at that time. If you must read in context, you cannot take verse out of context. Okay? Which of course includes prophets, right? But it is extending to Israel, which means that if you were to refer this to our time, who are the anointed ones? We are the anointed. As long as you're living within God's covenant, you are the anointed. As long as you're living within God's presence, you are the anointed. The pastors got anointed times 2 lah. That one. But we are the anointed ones. Okay? Dancing to the Lord and all that. So I want us to think of some of these actions and these verbs. These are in English called verbs. When we walk into a worship, we must remember what we need to do. I'm not saying do 100%. Sometimes, we may not be in the right mind. When we're not in the right mind, the right frame of mind, we need to seek the Lord. Okay, when we have done wrong, we tremble. Because God is still an almighty God. Alright, so during that time, I spent a bit of time, there were how many musicians, In 1 Chronicles 23:5, it says that David appointed 4,000 musicians. Can you imagine a worship with 4,000 musicians? But it's not all the time. Okay, it's not 4,000 in one go. Maybe some high Sabbaths they will do that. They go on rotation number every time 288. And they chose them by drawing lots. They don't schedule, they chose them by drawing lots. 1 Chronicles 25:7, you can read that. Another thing is only men in the choir and the musicians. No women. Too bad for me. No women, because it's only men. Somebody asked me, oh, is that like an orchestra? It's much more than orchestra. Orchestra is only musicians, right? Only the instruments. It's orchestra and a huge worship team. Is it operatic? Is it envisioning like classical music? No way. There's no such thing as classical music. This is all Israelite Jewish music. Don't imagine the Bach, the Beethoven, which some churches like to say that. Right? Oh, we must have music like those classical era. No, this is not classical era. This is way back before classical era. Okay, but David was very particular when he did all this. If you read Chronicles, he's very, very organized, He organized this, and he really knows how to plan very well. Imagine that one day we will be doing that, worshipping among thousands of people. Some people just, let's jam, let's just come and play. No, no such thing. Worship must not be like that. Worship must be very well organized. That is what I learned from David here. Okay, it must be very well organized, very well prepared. Asaph was the head worship leader, Asaph. And Asaph wrote a couple of psalms as well. You will hear that as well. Okay, so spend a bit of time here already. Now we go to the covenant. Okay, going to the covenant. Okay, let's go to the covenant. The covenant is special to David. God made a covenant with him. Where can that be found?
2 Samuel chapter 7. And the covenant, God used prophet Nathan, and God is very specific. If you can read it from verse 8 onwards, what the covenant about is basically God wants to bless David and his line. Another part is in 1 Chronicles 17. And if we focus on 2 Samuel 7, verse 14, I will be a father to him and he will be a son to me. When he does wrong, I will discipline him with a human rod and with the blows from others.
Okay, now the book of 2 Samuel verse 7 and 1 Chronicles 17 is similar. You will find that some verses in 2 Samuel and 1 Chron is similar. The Chronicles part of the books are more on SOP, more on the operational side of it. In fact, Chronicles takes totally away David's sin.
Yeah.
The big sin take away, but 2 Samuel does that as well. But let's just go into one of the 2 Samuel will be fine. One day David is after he had brought back the ark and all that, and he was settling in his palace. Who built the palace for him? Then you can go to 1 Chron 14. So you see, if you cross-reference, you can find. You don't have to turn. It's King Hiram of Tyre offers to build David a palace and brings everything. David did not build his palace himself. That is the kind of person David is as well, or was. He didn't, because of all the gold that he has acquired. In fact, all the gold he acquired from his conquering, he dedicated it to the Lord. He dedicated it to the Lord. You can read that in 2 Samuel 8, 11 to 12. After he conquered all this, when I tell you, you write it down so you can go back and refer, because we don't have the time to go through. He dedicated all the gold, all the silver, everything. He said, I give to the Lord. I don't want to take. How many of us can be like that? When we earn a lot of money and everything, and we say, all this money is for God. Can we say that or not? Or we say, God, okay lah, 50 ringgit I give you every week. I'm very good already, Or I give you 10%. I take 90%. But for David, everything. It's not tithing, It's like the whole thing is offered to God. Then one day he says, hey, I want to build a temple of God. Because God is staying in tent. Remember? God is still staying in the tent. Like in those days, there's no temple yet for God. It's just those tent they pitch, and then they will dismantle, and then they carry, they go and move to another place. And he told Nathan that, And verse 3, what did Nathan do? If you were the prophet, what do you think? Good idea or not? Yeah. Because he's honoring God. Why not? So what did Nathan tell him? Go ahead and do it. Was that right or wrong? After that, God appears to him in a dream at night and then tells him what he wants David to do. So he goes around and I says that, I've been traveling all this while. I never asked people to build me a temple. Okay? I did not tell the leaders, why have you not built me a temple? And then he says, tell to David, I took you out as a shepherd and all that, and I make you famous, and then I will establish a place for you. Verse 12. Can you read verse 12?
When your time comes and you rest with your fathers, I will raise up after you your descendant, who will come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom.
Okay, so what does it mean? When it's come for you to die, David, you don't build the temple for me. Who else? Who will? I will raise up your descendant, one of your sons, to succeed you, and I will establish his kingdom. So there is a covenant between God and David. He will build a house for my name, and I will make his dynasty permanent. At this point in time, Bathsheba has not come into the picture. So did God already know he was going to choose Solomon? Does he know? That means to say that the sin had to happen. If the sin didn't happen, there will be no Solomon.
Somebody else.
That's why I ask you, was God already fixed on Solomon already? Or was God saying, never mind, one of your sons I will choose? What do you think? Or was it God was just telling him, look, I will raise up your descendant, one of your sons, to succeed me? Maybe God hasn't decided.
You never said one of your sons, you say
Your descendant, huh? My version says that. What is your version?
I will raise up after you your descendant, which will come from your body.
Okay, your descendant. So, it will be one of the sons, but may not be Solomon. He will build the temple, God's house, and God will prolong his dynasty. It means his children all will come down. And I will become his father, and he will become my son. Wow. Good or not?
But you're talking about Jesus. He's like, if you say he's not sure, maybe there are like a few sons or he's not sure. It's like very specific.
Yeah, God is very specific.
Okay. One particular person.
Why is it not Jesus? Read on.
Jesus beat him with a rod.
When he sins, how can it be Jesus? I will correct him with the rod of man and with wounds inflicted by human beings. But my loyal love will not be removed as I remove it from Saul. It's a human being. So Cindy says God is very specific. God will know which one he wants to choose. In other words, David was meant to fall. So many questions, huh? Right. See, when you do close reading and you start to think, and then you understand the scenario, what's happening. This was given before the fall of David. This was given when he was in the high and mighty part of him. Okay? When he was riding high, and God already said, I'm going to, one of your descendant, one of your sons is going to build me a temple, and I'm going to continue his legacy. Now, why was it that God did not want David to build a temple? Where can we find that verse? Most important. 1 Chronicles 22. See, 1 Chronicles 20. I make it so easy for you guys. Please write down all these verses so that next time people ask you, you know. 1 Chronicles. This is much later, you're right. Elijah says when he was going to die and Solomon was already in the picture. And he says what? 1 Chronicles 22 verse 6.
Then he summoned his son Solomon and instructed him to build a house for the Lord God of Israel. My son, David said to Solomon, it was in my heart to build a house for the name of the Lord my God. But the word of the Lord came to me, you have shed much blood and waged great wars. You are not to build a house for my name, because you have shed so much blood on the ground before me.
Okay. says that because David spilled so much blood. But my question is that David spilled the blood for God. The question, yeah. So we got a lot of questions, isn't it? It's good to think. It's good to think. You're not doubting, you're just now understanding the nature of God. You're really understanding the nature of God. And yeah, so he now chooses the son to build. Okay, so that was a covenant. Now, was the covenant perpetual? That means, did the covenant end? Never mind. There'll be the next few chapters, the next few lessons we will know. What happened to David's dynasty? Whether or not it's still there, or whether or not because of disobedience, it was taken away. David was very faithful, came down to Solomon. Next week we will start to talk about Solomon, and then coming down to Rehoboam, which is Solomon's son. What happened to the nation of Israel? We have only 5 minutes to do this one. 2 Samuel 11, very, very famous story. I think most Christians will know about this story. It's the story about David and Bathsheba. Okay, why you say David Ponteng?
Because you say normally kings go out to war. So one day he decides to stay back.
Okay, gives you a hint of how we can get into trouble. And how we can get into trouble is what happened in the spring of the year, at the time when kings normally go out or conduct wars. What did David do? David sent Joab with his officers and the entire Israelite army. This story is never mentioned in Chronicles. Never mentioned. And then what happened? So David stayed behind.
He decides to go for a walk, and I think it's on the roof of his
Yes,
palace,
rooftop.
and then overlook the city. He was seeing a movie taking up.
Yeah.
So he sent someone to ask who is the lady, and she's the Bathsheba, is the wife of Uriah.
Uriah.
Yeah.
Right.
So he had summoned the lady and said.
Okay.
So after that, the lady found she was pregnant, so
Yes.
tell him. And then so he wanted to take away cover up.
Yes.
So he went to ask the husband to come back and try to make the husband to sleep with him to cover it.
Sleep
But
with
then
her.
twice also the husband don't want to sleep with
Yes.
the wife. So in the end he got no choice, he want to send him out to be killed. So he sent him to the front line of the battle and be killed.
Okay. And then
After that he went to take the wife as his own.
take the wife as his own.
Got very, very angry for he has killed an innocent man on his own life.
Okay. Now who is Uriah the Hittite? Yeah, he's one of the 30. One of the special forces who supported David when he was, still not dominant over the whole of Israel. He was one of the 30. We can read that in 1 Chronicles 11:41. We name among the 30 special forces. That means David would have known him personally. Okay, then what happened?
Then God sent Nathan come to David because he told him about the story. And David also said, how can you do that? And then he even said, that's you. You are the one who is doing that. Then God get angry and want to punish David. But luckily David he repented instead of like Saul keep finding excuses. David repents and then
Alright, so let's go to verse 13. This one is important. 2 Samuel 12:13. Right, we know about the story. I think most of us know about this scandal, isn't it? If you don't, then you go back and read chapter 11. But David's response to Nathan's rebuke. How did David respond? I want to dwell a bit about that. Verse 13.
Then David confessed to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. Nathan replied, yes, but the Lord has forgiven you, and you're going to die for these sins.
Okay, alright, stop there. Like what Celine said, instead of like Saul, what would Saul have done? Excuse. the woman come and seduce me and all this, a lot of excuses Saul would have done. Correct or not? But David, the first thing he did was say what? I have sinned against the Lord. He admitted sinning against the Lord. Some people will be, how do I say? They feel remorse because they have done something wrong, but not sinning against the Lord. They are more afraid of the consequences of the sin than that it is a sin against the Lord. But for David, he straight away acknowledged that I have sinned against the Lord. Not against man, against the Lord. And then after that, Nathan says, yeah, the Lord has forgiven you. Can man even forgive such a great sin? If you hear about a story today on Facebook or in the news today, can you forgive a guy like this? Especially if he's your king. But this one is adultery, murder, and plotting. He plotted, he really plotted to kill Uriah. But the Lord says, I have forgiven you. What a forgiving God. When man can't even forgive, God can forgive. Yet, 14.
Nevertheless, because you have showed contempt for the word of the Lord by doing this, your child will die.
Okay, your child will die. Are there consequences to sin or not? There is forgiveness, but there are consequences. And David will face the consequences for the rest of his life. Not only the child in the tummy died, after that, go to verse 11.
This is what the Lord said. Because of what you have done, I will cause your own household to rebel against you. I will give your wife to another man before you marry her, and he will both make it done in public way. You did it secretly, but I made this happen to you openly in the sight of all Israel.
Public embarrassment. Did it happen after that? Yes. Absalom, his own son, slept with his concubine in broad daylight, showing the whole of Israel. I don't know how they do it, but they don't have certain live broadcasts like that, Really, but Absalom did that. And then the whole household of David turned upside down. First thing, the daughter got raped and all this type of thing, and then there was revenge, there was murder, and then Absalom took over his kingdom, and David had to run again. David became a fugitive again. So there are consequences. What was David's response? It's not written here, it's not written there, it's written in book of Psalm 51. Book of Psalm 51 will tell you how David's heart. Give you a very good idea how is David's heart. You go back and you read it. First thing he says was, have mercy on me. Does he need mercy? He's the favorite of God. Does he need mercy? Definitely need mercy. He was humble enough to ask for mercy. He was humble enough to ask for cleansing. Wash away. He was humble enough to acknowledge his transgression. Alex mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. And to ask for forgiveness. Cleanse me with hyssop, he asked. And he was humble enough to ask God to restore him. I wouldn't say humble enough. I believe he knows God enough that God is going to restore him. That relationship, and deliver him. That relationship, I think, with father and children, the same thing. It's a kind of relationship that David had with God himself. So this wonderful chapter, Psalm 51, is really a cry of David. It's really a cry of David. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful psalm. It's already done into a lot of songs really, such meaningful. But the most important thing is cleanse me. Create in me a clean heart, O God. When you say create in me a clean heart, means that I acknowledge that my heart is dirty, is corrupted. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Wash me not away from your presence, and take not your Holy Spirit from me, or Ruach Elohim. Such remorse, something for us to learn. What have you learned today? How to be a man or woman after God's heart. How? Do His will. What else? There are still consequences to our sin, even though everything is forgiven. God will definitely forgive our sins, but there are consequences. And a lot of times the consequences will pass down to the family, unfortunately. Thank you so much for your attention. Next week we will end with David and start with Solomon. And I want to go into the building of the Solomon temple. Amazing, magnificent temple. And how clearly the instructions were given by David.